very old building, a brick building made of Arcola brick, and built in 1904 and restored by Lee Robinson. And I'll let him tell you when.
I guess it was in 1998, and it was a bit of a project. The building had been abandoned, and it had 2 feet of ice in the basement and a foot of pigeon guano on the top floor, but the bones were great. It was built using massive layers of brick. This is real brick construction, 5 layers on the basement level, 3 layers on the main floor, and 2 for the top floor. And all of the joists and suspension are hung in the masonry, and that's what held it up. Otherwise, it would have gone to demolition. It was ready to go for demolition when I looked into it. It is remarkable construction. The project took, I suppose, almost 4 years from beginning to end. By the time every space was rentable, what I did was I reconfigured the interior to be adaptable to all sorts of modern usages, including rental space, residential, storefront, and installed all new infrastructure, put in a new steam boiler, all new wiring, plumbing, and coax cable, central vac, everything that it needed to keep it viable for this era. And it was a major piece of storefront history in Arcola. It was one of the scenes for Who Has Seen the Wind. It was the drugstore in that movie, and it's been featured on many books and motion picture posters, and it would have been a shame for this town to have lost this structure. It would have been like a missing front tooth in the town's smile, and it was really important to restore it.
Go ahead. All right, come on right through and I'll tell you a little bit what I know about this building. Lee has told you a bit. He made it into usable space. At the time he was refurbishing, there was a lady massage therapist here, and he made a suite for her to use. This was her room. She did her therapy, and she had her own bathroom as well, so it was quite neat. And I use it for storage for my historic pictures. I'm a historic picture collector, amongst other things. And back in as we come through here, I, of course, wasn't in this town, didn't know about it, but I've been told by old-timers that this was the ice cream parlor. Notice the beautiful tin ceiling. They took it down and redone it. It's all put up. And they tell me there were the ice cream chairs and the tables, the wrought iron in here in plenty. Then I mentioned before in here the storefront when it was original, or that came back to about here. And this little area was where the druggist had his office. And when it was being refurbished, there's a cistern under this, would be full of water. And in one area here, there was a trap door. So when you opened the trap door, you saw water. You could get a pail of soft water. But Lee found out that if he got down his hands and knees, there was a sliding drawer or box there that he brought over. And so we assumed that that's where the druggist would hide his money and valuables and things. And I guess we're partially correct, but I talked to one old timer and he said, yeah, that's where he kept his valuables, all right. And he said he kept a jug of home brew in there as well for himself and his friends. And I have a ledger here that was from the drugstore at that time when Prohibition was on. And about 80% of the entries are whiskey written in Latin. I can't say the form, but that's what it amounted to. It was alcohol that were being prescribed by the druggist. So if you were really thirsty, it was still alive and well in Arcola.
This area had to be reconfigured. I moved a few doors and such around, but this is the original staircase. And the ceiling tiles, the original tin ceiling tiles, were kind of hanging in tatters with different layers of paint and stuff that had separated from the massive water damage the building suffered during the early 90s. And we found enough pieces to reconfigure the tin ceiling in this area and as well in the front of the store, and to be able to keep it looking kind of unified and original. This area now serves as kind of a great hall entrance area for the large apartment on the top floor, and it accesses all rooms of the building from this entrance area. All the plaster, most of the plaster had to be torn off on the main floor and the upstairs because of water damage, and we found enough restoration woodwork and original to the building in another condemned and almost destroyed building, and managed to integrate it so that the main floor has the original style of woodwork throughout, and as original as we could keep it, yet keep the structure adaptive to modern usage. Thank you very much for looking in on us here in Arcola, Saskatchewan, and I hope everyone enjoys this and comes to visit some of the great landmarks we have in our area.
Thank you for joining us as we've watched another episode of, yes, gargoyles do live in Saskatchewan. My name is Audrey Price, and I'm the Provincial Coordinator for the Architectural Heritage Society of Saskatchewan. I want to tell you a few things about us, about what we do to help keep our built heritage for our future generations. We're a nonprofit society supported by SaskCulture and Saskatchewan Lotteries, whose main focus is to be the catalyst for education and preservation of Saskatchewan's built heritage. We do this by offering membership in the society to individuals and various organizations across Saskatchewan. We publish the Heritage Quarterly magazine, which highlights stories about Saskatchewan people and their efforts to preserve our built heritage. Members are encouraged to contribute articles and receive the publication as a benefit of their membership. We provide financial incentives to members through grants for the express purpose of keeping our built heritage for future generations. This series is also a part of that process of sharing with Saskatchewan people all the wonderful stories and the places those stories happened in.